Jack here, JBF Music and Guitar Lessons. In this signature guitar licks we're looking at 4 Chris Poland lead lines, formerly of Megadeth. If you fancy checking out my big 4 guitar riff battle, then check that out with the eye up in the top right hand corner. But I mean, you might also know Chris Poland from Ohm, or even his Lamb of God guest solos. I recovered these tabs from my backup, so it's been bumped up the key, but fear not, my metal head-to-head round robin poll is still going strong, so make sure to vote in that for the next signature licks video. On top of these 4 licks, which are all in E, we'll be learning 6 techniques and tricks that are crucial for Chris Poland's lead sound, so stick around to discover all of those great ideas. It'll be quite a dense tutorial, quite a lot packed in here, so it'll be focusing a bit less on theory and more on these kind of finger gymnastics that he does. So by the end of this, you should have these 4 quite frankly awesome licks, some new techniques, tips or tricks, and an idea of how to sound like Chris Poland. Hopefully a newfound appreciation for his very unique approach to the guitar. Timestamps for each section and appropriate clips of Chris Poland ripping it up are in the video's description and pinned comment. If you found any great clips of Chris Poland solos or excerpts, feel free to share them in the comments as well. And if you appreciate these in-depth tutorials complete with tabs and timestamps, let me know by clicking like and leaving a comment. Any sort of interaction is really a huge help to the channel. Okay, right off the bat, a trademark Poland move. This quick bend and release. Not dissimilar to Marty Friedman, check out the eye up there for a breakdown of his most iconic tricks. But here, not only are we doing that, but we're hammering on straight after it. An even more uniquely Poland thing to do. You want to bend this note up a semitone, then release it to pitch, then hammer on the next 2 notes. You might want to apply a light bit of palm muting to help clean things up a little bit. We repeat that phrase like I did there, then we've got just the first 2 notes. After this we're on to the next string, picking it once and then hammering on the next 2 notes. Same on the D string. So the eagle-eared among us may have noticed this is not a typical plagal scale or mode, it's in fact a symmetrical scale, yet another Chris Poland trick. This one in particular, using this shape of semitone, tone, and taking it all the way across the fretboard. Forgive the overbend at the end there, a bit too much excitement doing this lesson I think, but it's a bonus scale for you there nonetheless. So picking up where we left off, we have a small trill on the G, back down to D's 12th fret, and continuing up our symmetrical scale. Next, a textbook Poland technique. I told you this was a dense lesson and we're not even at what I think are the coolest tricks, let alone halfway through the first lick. So we're pre-bending this note, this 9th fret here, before we play it. So rather than hitting it and bending it up, you're pre-bending and then playing it. Right, we sustain this bend, return it to pitch, and we got a real staple of Chris Poland's playing. We're hammering on the 10th to the 12th, pulling off to this in-between note, the 11th fret, except we're pre-bending it up by a semitone, then releasing it. Then hammering on this note we just targeted with the bend, that 12th fret. Then this 10th fret on the high E. So just to go over that again, we've got this 10th fret that we're hammering on to the 12th, We're pulling off to the 11th fret, but pre-bending it. Overbent it there, sorry. Releasing to pitch, then hammering on the 12th fret. Finishing up with this one. 10th fret on the high E. You might want to consider hybrid picking here. It's not what Poland does, but it can make life easier for some, myself included. I tend to use this finger to get that fret there. So we repeat this idea from that 11th fret. So again, doing a pre-bend to pitch, hammering on the 12th and the 10th on the E. And resolve this to the 14th fret on the high E. And yet another Poland trick. We're applying a vibrato, so you want to try wiggling your finger but stay within the fret, a bit like classical vibrato. And make sure your finger maintains contact with the string, otherwise it'll kind of cut out like that. Guys like Chris Poland and Al Di Meola can make the sound really smooth and like very tasteful whammy bar vibrato, something I'm still working on. For more tips on this kind of sliding vibrato thing or how to use it across multiple frets, check out this Greg Howe inspired tutorial up there. The two main variables I've found so far are playing with your thumb either floating off the neck or anchored, and also holding down fingers behind the note for reinforcement. So you can hold these fingers down, or you can have them off the fretboard. The other main thing, as I say, is whether your thumb's anchored to the neck or whether it's floating. These are the main variables that seem to affect how successful I am in performing this vibrato. Personally, I've also found that sliding towards the body of the guitar, so kind of closer to the 14th fret, from halfway between the 13th and the 14th frets, gives me the most consistent results. Sliding down towards the 13th fret tends to reduce the kind of contact my finger has with the string. You can probably hear there, it's a bit weaker, it's not quite as strong there, the note just died out completely. It might just be to do with my hands, it might be different for each person, so these are some factors that are definitely worth experimenting with. So in a nutshell, you could see this as a Mixolydian lick with a fair amount of chromatics thrown in, but like I said before, that this lesson feels pretty weighty in terms of techniques and note manipulations alone, so if you do want these notes analysed or a lesson on symmetrical scales, let me know in those comments. And if you like this format with easy to find licks via the timestamps, demos which decrease in speed with no talking, followed by a comprehensive breakdown, then click on subscribe. And if you want more of this kind of thing in your feed, make sure to enable all notifications so you never miss out on new content. Okay, a slight reprieve here, probably the easiest lick of the bunch, but by no means is it a walk in the park to play. Kicking off with yet another cornerstone of Chris Poland's style, the compound bend. It's bends within bends. For more on that, check up the eye up there for a much more comprehensive lesson. But we're bending this note up 2 tones, releasing it down to a tone and a half, and then down to 1 tone. I missed that a bit. So the notes we're targeting, so a little bit of a chromatic descent here. For maximum bang for your buck, you want to add in a fairly wide but also controlled vibrato here when you get down to the tone bend. When you're there. Try to get it sounding as smooth as possible, as if it was being played by a whammy bar, going up and down pitch both equally. You can of course just use a whammy bar, but if you're keen on replicating some of the things which make Chris Poland's playing sound so vocal and melodic, the lines that really sing, yeah, this is an area to spend some time on. The next bar uses some double stops, and I'll give you a moment in case you want to give them a quick analysis and work out what they are. And for those of us who want to forge onward, they're both ninths. So for more on interval mapping, check out the lesson with the card up there. So this is not so common in his Megadeth days, more so with his stuff from Ohm. And what we're doing is sliding from this 10th fret up to the 14th. Alright, just quickly breaking down the theory here. If we're playing over an E5, what we have is a flat 7 that's being bent up all the way to the 2nd. We then move it down to the flat 2nd, and then to the root. So what's cool here is rather than bending to the target pitch or bending then releasing it to the target note, the note we're targeting is kind of in between. We're still bending when we get to it. The advantage here is that you can both raise and lower the pitch with vibrato, which helps add that more human vocal quality that I just mentioned. Then this double stop, we have a flat third and a fourth, sliding up to a fifth and a sixth. Fifth there and sixth there. So while the third and the fifth from each double stop are pretty stable, the fourth and the sixth add in some less stability, kind of more floaty vibes, which you'll hear a fair bit in Chris Poland's chops. Alright, I mentioned earlier that we hadn't even touched on my favourite Poland tricks. Full disclosure, there are two of them and they're both on this lick. We've barely even scratched the surface of his playing and there's still more to come in the next lick. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself there. So most of us would play a major second interval on the same string, going between the 17th and the 15th fret. We'd probably trill it at higher speeds. Not Chris Poland. He does this really cool thing that I can't say I've ever come across before. He'll do a mini sweep through the high E and B strings. So you'll want to upward pick slant, and more on that with the link in my pinned comment. So you basically want to tilt the pick so it's pointing towards the floor. Obviously it can be a lot less extreme than this. Even just a few degrees from being parallel with the string is fine. And we're using two upstrokes, raking through the E and the B strings. You then lift your wrist over these strings, keeping this tilt, and repeat the upward sweeping motion 2 more times. So Chris Poland plays with his pick like this. I'll try and exaggerate to make it a bit clearer, kind of poking up through the strings this way. I tend to kind of point more down this way. So this isn't a huge thing, but you might find doing this little upward sweep, particularly for maximum speed, you might find angling the pick so your thumb's bent this way rather than this way does really help get that speed. But like I say, I can get through this using not too much change to my normal picking technique with not much bother. And once you get the sound of this in your ear, you'll no doubt hear it all over us playing this move. On the third time, what we do after this mini sweep is we pull off to the 14th fret, bend at a semitone, the release. So you're pulling off, bend a semitone, release. Really similar to what we've done before. We then have a short trill between the 12th and the 13th frets. 14th fret pulling off to the 13th and 12th. Down to the E, the 14th fret. Pulling off the 13th to the 12th. On the G. 14 to 12 back on the D, pulling off. Then we're playing the 14th fret on the G string. Then the 13th fret, and quickly bending it. So unlike bar 1, this is not a pull off. What we're doing is playing both notes. But again, doing a similar thing where we're bending this 13th fret up a semitone and releasing. We then have a small upward sweep across the 14th frets on the D and the A strings. Pull off to the 12th fret, slide down to the 11th fret. I'm finishing off the lick with my other favourite Poland trick. This one took me a while to work out. In the past, I'd always assumed he'd pulled off, then did a bend like we did in, kind of just after the sweep here, but that didn't sound quite right. And here I found out where I was going wrong. In this case, he's pulling off for the 14th to the 12th frets, just like on the A string. But this time, before sliding down, he's bending the string a microtone. Not as far as a semitone, a bit less, and then maintaining that bend while sliding. A tiny nuance, but really helps add this unique, subtle flavour. So, to reiterate, 14th fret, pull off to 12. Start a quarter tone bend. Slide down and keep that bend. When the slide reaches the 11th fret, release the bend. So, for context, here it is without the bend. Here's what I thought he did, the bend after the slide. And here's what it's supposed to be played like. And here they are back to back for comparison. So each has a different quality, but to me the last one sounds the most fluid, smooth, and just sort of cool, probably because I'm not used to hearing it at all. So without going over every note here in terms of analysis, we've essentially got an E Mixolydian lick. It makes use of the flat third, you know, here, changing the major minor tonality whenever this note is played on the G string. Some cool use of the flat sixth, which is the 13th fret on the bass string, and we end the lick on the 6th. For one of those slightly uneasy, floaty resolutions. Okay, we've encountered the main trick here before. I'll give you a few seconds if you want to work out what it is. Feel free to pause the video. And for everyone else who wants to just forge on, it is the symmetrical scale. Well, until it isn't, but we'll come to that in a minute. Some really nice legato playing here, not dissimilar to Alan Holdsworth in terms of that kind of smooth, even sound. We're only really hitting each string once for the first bar and for the first half of the second bar. So what I mean by this is we have the 10th fret by itself, and the high E. We're doing the 12th fret pulling off to the 10th, sliding down, hammer on again. So we only pluck the B string once. 9th string on the E, sorry, 9th fret on the E string. Then again we're just plucking the B string once, pulling off twice. Only one note on the G, it's 12th fret. 10th fret pulling off to the 9th on the B. 12th on the G, pull off, hammer, hammer. This 9th fret on the B string. Then we're pretty much just repeating that pattern on the next set of strings. Hopefully that overlay will highlight what I mean. The only difference being that when we get to this 9th fret on the D, that 5th last note of bar 2, we pluck it. But just to cover it, we've got the 12th fret pulling off to the 10th and the 9th on the G. 12th on the D, pulling off the 10th to the 9th on the G. Then we have the 12 to the 10 on the D string. Then what we're doing here is picking this note, pulling off the 12th to the 10th and then the 9th on the D string, 12th on the A, pulling off the 10th to the 9th on the D string. Then we've got a D 12th fret pulling off to the 9th. We then pluck the 12th fret again, but slide it down to the 11th fret. This is where it is the symmetrical scale is no more. We're then pulling off to the 9th fret, 12th on the low E, and either pull off or play this 10th fret here and then bend it up a tone. Release it back to pitch. So that concludes the lick. And another kind of Mixolydian-ish sounding lick, again using the flat 6, that 10th fret on the D string for a bit of chromaticism, and this time a flat 9 for some extra peppery flavours, which would be the 10th fret on the G string there. Right, bonus lick. Well, Sort of. So also shout out to the Lick Squad Elite for watching this far, and you guys really rock and make it all worthwhile. What we can do is we can play this lick still over in E5, but move everything up a full tone. So this time it'll have more of a kind of overall Lydian sound, but with some crunchy chromatics. The 14th fret on the G string is a 4th, and since Lydian has a sharp 4, this is an out note. The 12th fret on the G string is also an out note, is it the flat 3rd, as is the 12th fret on the D, the flat 7th, which hints at a kind of Lydian dominant scale in passing. You could sharpen this note, play at the 13th fret on the D string, if you want to play a bit safer. But I thoroughly recommend playing about with the semitone tone symmetrical scale shape and getting a feel for using the harsher notes to build the tension and releasing to safer notes. Some really cool ideas to be had here, folks. So just to go around that, if we played it up here, it would sound like that. So those were 4 Chris Poland guitar lines. This has been Signature Guitar Licks. That's the playlist there. For some more exotic metal ideas, check out that video. But yeah, hit subscribe to stay up to date with the channel. Leave me a comment, share it with your fellow musicians, and enable notifications by ringing that little bell inside if you feel so inclined. Cheers, guys.